Good morning, everyone. It's Ange Sinclair from Digestive Detective. I thought I'd come on this morning. Happy Saturday from me. This morning I thought I'd come on and talk about self-care. A lot of us are not great at this, and I'm talking about this today because I also need a constant reminder. So tell me, what is self-care? So the definition of self-care, it's an activity that you do voluntarily which helps you maintain your mental, physical and emotional health. It can make you feel healthier, relaxed and ready to take on your responsibilities. And I think a lot of us, especially women, feel really guilty about taking time for ourselves, and we feel selfish that it's to take time out to nourish ourselves. I know I do. For me, self-care shouldn't probably be used only in emergency, as an emergency response when life is spiraling out of control, and I know that's my go-to position. Self-care should be an intentional way that we live, and our values and our attitudes and our actions all integrated into our life to how we live our life. So one of the things is we do need to be engaged in what's happening in our life every day for this to happen. So each of us will have different ideas on what self-care will be to us, what we like, what we don't like, and what actually self-care means to you. Because for some people it means going for a pedicure. That would be the worst thing in the world for me. I would hate that. People playing with my feet. So there's some of the things. So we just need to make time that we can nourish ourselves without judgment, without guilt, without worry, all those sorts of things. You can't take care of somebody else when your own needs aren't being met. So it's really important for us to remember to take care of ourselves and do that sort of thing. So self-care can be really, really important in times of stress because our cortisol levels get elevated, and this can lead to the body to make physiological changes in our cells. Then this can impact our weight, our hormones, our sleep, how we react to certain situations. It impacts our adrenal function, which impacts our energy levels. There's this cascading effect right through the body. And the things I see most often, not only with clients, but things that I experience with myself, are sleep disturbances, nervousness, thyroid. My thyroid goes AWOL if I don't take time for myself. They're all increased around stress, anxiety, depression, weight gain, headaches, memory and concentration things. I have seen people that have had digestive issues, flares such as constipation, diarrhea, diverticulitis, autoimmune conditions, joint pain is one, things like Hashimoto's and chronic fatigue due to their stress being chronically elevated and not taking that time out. You know, the body is designed to be under stress, but not forever. And the more it's under stress, it loses its ability to adapt over time. So I think it's really important in times of self-care to keep a good check on your nutrition and what you're eating, and in times of high stress. What you're eating is really important in keeping your body functioning at its best. When emotional stress is really high, great nutrition can help balance out those emotions. It'll certainly help you cope better with stress. And exercise is another great way to do that. Sleep is really important as well, as this keeps our stress hormone cortisol in check. So cortisol manages your mood, your fear, your responses, how we manage the nutrients that we eat. It increases our blood pressure and our heart rate, amongst other things. So you can see why it's important to keep it under control. So a few weeks ago actually, probably about 4 or 5 weeks, maybe longer, I was listening to a John O'Leary podcast, and if you've never listened to John O'Leary, it's fantastic. That he does an interview with somebody, an inspiring person, once a week I think they are, and they're always really great to listen to. And so there was a woman on there talking about the importance of Sabbath. Now, I'm not a religious person, and she wasn't talking about it in a religious context, but she was talking about it in the context of Sabbath as being the day of rest. She talked about it restoring her health and well-being and bringing her joy back into her life by setting aside an entire day to spend on herself, doing only the things that give her joy on that day. So that really intrigued me. By the thought of doing nothing for a whole day. Anybody? Irene, hi, I see you there watching. Would you be able to do something for a whole day for yourself? It's not my first thought come into my head. I thought, oh, would I be able to do that? Then my second thought was, I can't do that because that's just not what's done. Then I spiraled with oh my God, what sort of message would I be sending to my kids by taking a day off and not doing any jobs and only doing things that gave me joy and enhanced my relationships with my family? In fact, I was pretty nervous when I went to talk to my husband about this new idea that I'd had, and would he think I was lazy or selfish? Well, fortunately for me, after I got up the courage to do this, he also thought it was a really great idea. So I was very lucky to have him on board with that. So we slowly, over a couple of months, started to implement it into our life. Has it been easy? Probably I wouldn't say that. For the first 3 to 4 weeks, it was really, really, really difficult not to do anything that looked like work. Then I got sick and I fell off the wagon, so I had to catch up. So I had a couple of Sundays where I worked. So some good things about falling off the wagon, and people don't often go, oh, well, you've fallen off the wagon, what good's come out of it? But some good things for me. I recognised that I really liked having that day to reconnect with myself, with my husband, with any child who happened to be at home on that day. I noticed the difference in my attitude, my energy levels and my enthusiasm for work, my creativity and my relationships to the people who matter most in my life. So what did I do on those days that I'm having a day off? At the start, it was simply teaching myself to stop. If you're like me, not many of us are really good at that. So there was a bit of laying on the couch, reading, listening to books, napping. And so now on Sundays, I often cook for just the joy of it. Cooking became a real chore for me, as I cook everything from scratch and I like meals to be really healthy. So it just took on a drab. It became a drag. I was always thinking, oh my God, what am I going to cook tonight for dinner? So it's changed how I view that. And cooking for my family. So now I make things like hummus every week, which I know how good that is for our gut health. So I make that with no problem at all, because I know it's something that my family love, and we change it up every couple of weeks, and it gives me great joy to make that. I also cook things that, and I'm not a really great cook, I'm pretty awful actually, but this is a way for me to try out things that I would never have cooked before. Some of the other things that we've done, we've been on a very long drive to nowhere with no destination, which is really not like us, with my husband and I. We've had picnics, we've had discos with old people's music, according to my kids. We've played backgammon and cards and watched movies. Don't get me wrong that the work shouldn't be getting done. The work that's not getting done on the days that we're not doing anything, that doesn't magically disappear. Unfortunately, Saturdays, there is, and I hate this word, but Saturdays are a real hustle for me. I hustle like there's no tomorrow, so I know that, especially on the days that I'm home, that I can have tomorrow off. And on the days when I'm in the office like today, it's even a bigger hustle. So some things I've learned from that that have been very surprising to me is, one, I'm a much better delegator than I've ever been. For probably the last 20 years, I've felt that I'm in charge and I have to do it all. And I'm much less the control freak about how things are done. So which is a good learning for me. So the way we have downtime now, I don't feel guilty or stressed about it or worried that I should be doing something else. I can just actually enjoy it. And I see women in clinic every week that have adrenal, thyroid, sleep, digestive and fatigue issues just because there is no time and no space for them. I found for me, I've created this barrier, and once I let go of that, there's too much for me to do, and I could get into my self-care practice much, much better. And we need to find time so our bodies can restore themselves like they were meant to. So what self-care do you do on a regular basis? And are you taking the time to give your body the rest it deserves? And I know it's easy for us to say, but we have to take the first steps. And if you know somebody who you think this message would resonate with about self-care, tag them in this post or share it with them. The more women we can get on this self-care train, the more chance we have slowing down this constant need for busyness in our society. And about how we model it to our kids. You know, one of my kids often says, oh my God, I feel bad because I'm not actually doing anything. And that's not a message that I want to foster and create with my kids. I want them to know it's okay to be not doing everything every minute of the day. I want them to be beings, after all, you know, human beings rather than human doings, because that's what we're here for after all. Thanks for listening and have a fabulous weekend. I'll talk to you soon.